Okay guys, Steve here again from RC Tanks and Trucks 24/7, back again with another build video here, second in the series for the awesome GMADE Sawback Jeep Willy. So this time I've taken the GoPro off the top of my head and I've put it on my good old chest, so giving me a bit more flexibility, I guess, and it's just easier to see what I'm doing and give you guys pretty much a better perspective of what I'm actually working on. So anyway, now it's starting on the actual gearbox or the transmission assembly. So if you want, you can put some music on, work in your own models, or just fast forward if you will. But here we go here. So this is a 39 tooth, I think, and yeah, 39 and a 15 tooth counter gear. Obviously importantly, we need to put in some ball bearings, otherwise it won't be much fun in there and the gearbox won't perform, so nothing will work properly. So you've got to be careful here. We've got one 23mm counter shaft and one 21mm counter shaft, so it's pretty hard to get it's pretty easy to put the wrong one in, so just make sure 21mm goes in first. So 21mm, happy days, in we go. I've already put one on the other side, and now time for the gear grease, which is always fun. Time to get messy. So obviously just put it on liberally, I guess. Is there even a word, liberally? You don't want no binding or any grinding in between these. It comes with a fair bit of grease, so I'm pretty sure it'll be fine. Happy days, there we go. Now if any of you guys, while you're watching this, or in the comment section, put something that you think you'd like to see, or something I'm doing wrong, or please let me know. Constructive criticism is always helpful. So, gotta pop this bad boy in there. Look at that, like I bought one. Okay, so now we're putting a 35 and actually done that one. See, look at that. Put it in the wrong way. Put the wrong one up together first. So this bad boy should be in first. So the smaller 39/25 tooth counter gear goes in. I really enjoy these GMADE kits. So there we go. Now the bearings are already in there from the other one, so if I pop that in there and pop another one in there like that, should be good. Now the longer counter shaft is because actual depth is much thicker on this one. So we'll put a little bit more grease on there, not too much, to go crazy. Where'd she roll to? There she is. One in there. One in the back side. Like that. And just goes in there. Like that. Smooth motion. That's what you want to hear. Nice. Very nice. Okay. Now the big boy. This is a 37 tooth counter gear. This cool cat right there. And we can't forget the counter gear shaft, which is this nice piece. Just sits in there. It's got a key so it can only go one way. You can't stuff that one up. If you can, and I'll give you a medal. So it only goes in one way. It's pretty hard to get in there. Actually tells you there's two ways as well, because there's 18mm end and the 16mm end. There we go. Quite a nice fit in there. And we can't forget to put ball bearing in here. Lather this one up like the others. There we go. Get that out of the way. Like such. And the longer end goes in first. There we go. Oh yeah. Now we're cooking with gas, guys. Obviously everything is nice and meshed up together. It's going to be from the factory, but it's going to make sure there's ample amount of grease in there. So you're good to go. Don't forget the bearing on the other side. And now these two cases will marry up and hopefully never need to be opened unless something severely goes wrong in there, which I hope it doesn't for the first few runs at least. Give it a spin, everything sounds nice. Let's see if we can hear any cracking. Nope, no crunching, no cracking of gears, which is always good. So, next up, I've got to put some, what do we got here? Some 20mm round head screws. I'll button it all up together, put the nuts on the back, and I'll show you how it looks. And that'll be one completed transmission housing. Alright, there we go. Got this nice cast motor plate here. Recesses nicely in there, nice and flush. Everything looks good. It's one completed housing. Everything sounds like it should. Next step, skid plate. Happy days. Okay, so here we have the lower skid plate. Just hard plastic. And pretty simple, we've got these little, you know, like little skid rollers made out of plastic. Pretty simple. We need to put these round screws through here. Nothing too overly exciting. And then you lock it off here with, you know, one M3 nylon nut. So not to bore you, I'll put all these in and I'll show you how it looks. Okay, so that's done. Just one thing to note. Just don't go crazy on tightening the screws here, otherwise these can bind, so just make sure they roll nicely and you should have yourself a little dolly. If you don't like to use it, then there you go, I'm sure you can find a use for that. You don't need it, I guess, but the next step once that's fitted is plonking the transmission housing onto the skid plate, and that's just with 4 10mm flat edge screws. So I'll pop that bad boy on and yeah, show you how it looks. And there we go, all together. Very nice and solid, extremely easy. Don't need to crank these down to buggery, but just nice and firm. There we go. So in theory, this whole setup, if you go over a rock, it'll kind of slide off. Sounds good in theory, I don't know about in practice, but like I said, you don't need it. I'll just leave it on here just for the purpose of showing you all what comes with the kit as standard. So next up, putting the motor on that bad boy. Alright. Okay guys, so I've put the motor in. had to install, solder the actual wires on, which is easy. Make sure you get a nice firm connection. Tugging it a few times, if it comes off, then obviously it's not a good job. But so there we go, the motor's installed. Just want to make sure that you don't make this mesh too tight. Simple way to do it is you put just a normal piece of paper in between the two gears, squash the two gears together, and then tighten the screws, and happy days, you should be fine. But if you've been around the hobby for a while, you just make sure that you can actually spin it quite freely, and there's not too much of a gap in between the spur and the motor pinion, and you should be fine. If it's pressed up so hard against it, it's obviously going to cause premature damage between the gears, and stubbing's definitely going to strip. And it's obviously much more stress on the motor itself. So there we go, all done, locked and loaded. All that's left to do in this step is put on the this cool little cover here. So I'm just using another camera so it's nice and close for you guys. And how do we do this? Put it on like that and twist and turn, and hunky dory. So there we go. Certainly coming together now. Okay guys, universal shaft assembly. Now we need to put the little U-joint in the actual holder here. So all you need to do, obviously put one end in, and a little bit tricky, requires some force, so you might want to use some needle nose pliers. Just going to push it up in here, there's a little channel that I can sit in. So just push it up in there, push it like that, and there we go. Make sure it spins nicely, and that's it. So obviously, if you haven't seen these, there we go. So when it's articulating and moving suspension like that, this one part stays on the fixed motor, the other part moves up and down like this. And it still transfers power from the gearbox to the differentials. Pretty great idea. Telescopic drive shaft, I believe they're called. So now there's a little cross pin, which is this little guy here. It marries up with these, like that. Okay, so now we're going to connect the two together, marry these up in harmony. Just have to get the little cross pin, feed it through to the other side, like that guys, and then lock it away, secure it with a little grub screw. It just goes in there. Happy days. That's it. One more to go, and then we're going to connect it to the gearbox. Okay, so now it's time to connect the universal shafts to the actual gearbox, or the transmission unit, and just to make sure I'm not supposed to connect it this way with the telescopic part going towards the diffs. Has to be the other way. Put this one back together. A bit tricky. Has to be like that. So extremely easy. It's made it up to the gearbox. And this, you just got to drop that pin in there, and that's pretty much it. So that's been a fun build so far. And now after this, it's actually starting building the chassis, which is always cool. It's always fun. So that's all we do. Just line the hole up, and that's it. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll finish this off, and in the next video you'll see me well attaching the actual putting the chassis together, which is yeah, I can't wait. It starts to really come to life then. But thanks guys, I'll finish this off, and appreciate your support, and see you in the next video. See you guys.